Welcome to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today we are checking out all of my Jurassic World Dominion dinosaur figures. Let's get started with this classic ginormous T-Rex figure. This Dominion T-Rex has a dark brown body with the black along the top. It's got the barcode scanner right on its back right there. And it's got a pretty thick neck and a pretty big head compared to a lot of the other T-Rex figures. It's got some evil yellow looking eyes. It's got a mouthful of teeth, plus the mouth actually has a throat, so you can actually fit some miniature dinosaurs in there. It doesn't have a stomach compartment, but as you can see, you could probably fit a few small dinosaurs in there. And the coolest feature of this figure is that it's got a button on its tail to activate the jaw, and you can move the tail to swing the torso around too. So it makes it look really lifelike. Next up, we've got a Megaraptor figure. This is one of my newest figures that I bought fairly recently. It's pretty awesome. It's got those huge claws in the front. It's got a red and a dark blue body. It's got some feathering detailing along its back and along its head, as well as some white detailing right along its face. It's got the barcode scanner right on its back. You can twist the tail. The tail also has some cool looking feathers, which is pretty unique. And you can adjust the arms and legs of this figure. Plus, there is a chomping action when you press down on its body. Got some sound effects too. That's pretty cool. This, I believe, is the Majungasaurus figure. This dinosaur has a lighter underbelly, a dark green side, and the brown detailing along the top. It's got some cool ridges right along its head, as well as the super tall orange ridge right on the top of its head. And you can move the arms and legs of this figure, as well as swivel the tail around to control the neck. And with this figure, you can actually adjust the standing pose by moving its legs. See how it leans down when you adjust the legs? That's a pretty cool feature. Not that many other figures that I have work like that. And of course, it's got the button on its tail to activate the jaw. This wild looking dinosaur is the Ichthyovenator. This dinosaur has a dark green body along its underside and on its sides, and it's got the super bright green detailing right along its spine and on its tail too. This is a pretty unique tail. This dinosaur has a long snout with a bunch of teeth inside. And the best part is that this dinosaur has an action when you press down on its body. It does a chomping action. Here we've got a ginormous Allosaurus figure, but not only that, this is an extreme battle damage Allosaurus. I think it's the only one I have that is a battle damage edition. This Allosaurus is almost as big as most of the T-Rex figures I have, which is unusual for an Allosaurus figure, and it's pretty adjustable. You can swivel the tail all around, you can move the legs and the arms, and there's a button on its back to activate the jaw too. But the coolest part is the extreme battle damage on its side. You can hide it completely, and then you can spring it open. It's spring-loaded, and you can even lift up the ribs to check out the insides underneath. I think that's its stomach right there. It's pretty squishy. That is really cool. And you can close it up and hide it. This is the Atrociraptor figure from Jurassic World Dominion. It's got the dark red eyes and the brown striping, which is actually very similar to this super colossal Atrociraptor that I have back here. Look at that, they're pretty similar. On this little figure, its mouth is closed and you can't open it. But on this super colossal figure, it is a lot more adjustable. It has those same dark red eyes, the striping all along its body, and this super colossal figure has the stomach compartment, so you can actually feed this huge figure smaller dinosaurs. This is the Rajasaurus figure in the dark blue edition. As you can see, most of its body is that dark blue-gray color. It's got some white detailing along its neck, on its arms, and on its chin. It's got some big old spines right along the top of its neck, and this figure actually has a chomping action when you press down on its body. I've noticed that they're doing this chomping action for a lot of the new Jurassic World Dominion figures. And I've actually got another Rajasaurus figure with different coloring here. This one is dark brown along its body and undersides, and it's got the dark blue just along the top and along those spines right there. It's got the horn on the top of its head and that same chomping action when you press down on its body. Moving along, we've got the Sound Surge T-Rex figure. This figure is a lot smaller than most of the T-Rex figures I have, but you can swivel the tail around, you can move the legs, and the arm, and you can open and close the jaw manually. You'll see that the tongue and lower teeth are not colored though, which is kind of a bummer, but it still has a cool feature that when you press down on the button, you get some T-Rex sound effects. Speaking of T-Rexes, I've got this huge super colossal T-Rex figure from Jurassic World Dominion. This figure is ginormous. Check it out. It has similar coloring as the first T-Rex that we saw in this video, but it has some cool features as well. Since it's a super colossal T-Rex, it has the stomach compartment, so you can feed this dinosaur smaller dinosaurs down its throat all the way to the stomach. And that is pretty cool. Next up, we've got a Giganotosaurus figure. I believe this is the Strike and Roar figure. It comes with two awesome functions. The first swings its torso and its head around for that chomping action. And the second button on the bottom of its tail opens and closes the jaw for roaring. That's pretty cool. That's some pretty wild movement. Over here in the corner, you may have already noticed, I've got another Giganotosaurus figure. This one is the Super Colossal Edition, and it is huge, just like the other Super Colossal figures. It's got the dark green body with black detailing. It's got the huge jaw with some really pointy long teeth. And since it's a Super Colossal figure, it has the stomach compartment for feeding smaller dinosaurs. Next, I've even got some brand new figures that we're gonna open up on camera. This one was a bit damaged in shipping, as you can see. This is the Velociraptor Blue and Atrociraptor pack. Let's check it out. Here is the Atrociraptor Blue pack. You can move its neck up and down, you can open and close its jaw, as well as move its arms and its legs. And here is the super bright orange and white Atrociraptor. And this Atrociraptor has the same movements as Velociraptor Blue. You can move the neck up and down, you can open and close the jaw, and move the arms and legs too. And it's got the barcode scanner right at the top of its back too. This is the Sound Surge Carnotaurus figure. It's pretty basic in design and not a ton of coloring. It's like almost completely red. It's got a little bit of white underneath its chin, and like the other Sound Surge figures, its tongue and its lower teeth are not colored, which is a bit of a bummer. But let's check out those sound effects that you can activate by pressing this button on its back. Here is the basic Pyroraptor figure. This figure is a dark red color with some black along its tail and its legs, as well as some black detailing right along its face too. And on this figure, you can only move its arms, its legs, and its tail a little bit. Speaking of Pyroraptor, I've got this ultimate uncaged Pyroraptor. Let's open it up and check it out. Here is the uncaged Pyroraptor, and this figure is huge. This Pyroraptor has sensors all over its face and on its chin, so you actually can do quite a bit with this figure. There's a training mode, there's a play mode, there's a wild mode. So let's check it out and see what kind of sound effects it comes with. Wow, that's pretty cool. I think it's in wild mode right now, because it's roaring a lot at me. All right, now its eyes turn blue. Let's see what happens when I touch those sensors. Wow, there's so much you can do with this thing. You can even train this Pyroraptor, which it's not obeying me right now, so it's obviously not trained right now, but that's pretty cool. I could spend a lot of time on this figure. You gotta check it out for yourself. Over here, we've got the Rowdy Roars Atrociraptor figure. This figure is also battery operated. Let's see what happens when you tap the top of its head. So it's got some sound effects, and it can open and close its jaw too. That's pretty neat. Over here, we've also got the Rowdy Roars Dilophosaurus figure. This one is also battery operated. So let's check that out. Let's see what sound effects this one can make too. That's pretty cool. Here is another Giganotosaurus figure. This is the Sound Surge edition, so it's a bit smaller than many of the other Giganotosaurus figures, and it's fairly adjustable. You can open and close the jaw, and move the arms, the legs, and the tail, and of course it's got the sound effects too. This is the Extreme Damage Dimetrodon. It has a light green body and the super bright spine on its back. And it's got the battle damage right on its side that you can turn on and turn off with the click of a button. Here is a smaller Carnotaurus figure. This one is dark green and orange, and it is pretty adjustable. You can move the neck, you can open and close the jaw, and you can move all the limbs as well. We've got a couple small Atrociraptor figures in here. Here is the classic white with brown striping Atrociraptor. And over here, we've got a light tan Atrociraptor with brown striping that's in a crawling pose. That's pretty cool. Next up, we've got an extreme battle damage Velociraptor. This Velociraptor has a white underbelly and sides with the dark blue on top, and the extreme battle damage right on the side that you can turn on and off. And this final dinosaur is an extreme battle damage Coeluris. It has the dark green body with the red legs, tail, and head, and it's got the extreme battle damage just like the Velociraptor. Welcome to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today I've got all my Jurassic World Dominion figures, and I've even got some new ones that we're gonna open up. I've got this empty space on my shelf, so today we are going to do a Jurassic World Dominion shelf build. The first that I'm gonna put on the shelf is the Therizinosaurus. This figure is mostly black, but it's got some green and it's got a red stripe down its back. So let's put that on the lower shelf right here. The next one is this huge Giganotosaurus figure. This figure has the iconic soft green color with the black detailing along its back. It's got that huge spine and those really cool looking teeth. And this figure actually has two action buttons. The first is with this button on top that swings the torso back and forth. And the second is a button on the bottom of its tail used for opening and closing its mouth. So let's put that on the right side of the lower shelf. I've also got a smaller Giganotosaurus figure here. This is the Sound Surge Giganotosaurus. So as you'll notice, quite a bit smaller than this one right here, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it right next to the larger one. In the back here, I've got a huge Tyrannosaurus Rex figure. This figure is a lot darker color than a lot of the other T-Rexes that you'll see I have on the shelves over here, but it still has the same awesome button on its tail to control the jaw, and you can use the tail to twist the torso around too. So let's go ahead and put this right next to the Giganotosauruses. Why don't we go ahead and open up these ones that I bought for this video. This first brand new one, I believe is pronounced an Ichthyovenator. Wow, that's a long word. But let's open it up and check it out. Here it is out of the box. It's got a dark green body, but a super bright lime green tail and spine on top of its back. This figure also has an action button that when you press down on its body, it does the chomping action. And it's got some sound effects too. That's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and put this on the higher shelf right up here. Next, I've got the Extreme Damage Allosaurus from Jurassic World Dominion. I'm super excited about this one. I've been waiting to get my hands on this one. This is probably my biggest Allosaurus figure. I have other Allosauruses that are similar colors as this, but none of them have this awesome battle damage on the side. As you can see, you can actually lift the rib cage up to reveal the stomach beneath it, or you can close it all the way to make it not have any battle damage at all. That is super cool. Plus, I believe it has one action button on its back for the jaw. Oh, check out that blue tongue too. That is pretty cool. So let's put this Allosaurus right next to the Therizinosaurus on the lower shelf. Next, I've got the Roar Strikers Sinoceratops. Let's check it out. I do have a few other Sinoceratops figures, but this one has totally different coloring. It's got this super bright yellow tail, the soft green body. the big horn in the front, and those black eyes. I think that's a really unique choice for a dinosaur like this. So let's put this Spinosaurus on the top shelf right there. And last of the new dinosaurs that I'm going to unbox is this tiny little Therizinosaurus. This is a very small Therizinosaurus figure, but it's still pretty cool. Of course, it's got the iconic huge claws in its hands. You'll notice that it's a dark color, unlike the large ones that are a gray color. But other than that, it has some pretty similar coloring with the larger Therizinosaurus. So why don't we put it right next to the larger one right there. Next up, we've got the Megaraptor with the red back and the dark blue front. And it's got some white detailing on the tip of its face too. And check out those orange eyes. That's pretty cool. And this figure has an action. It chomps when you press down on its back. So let's put this on the higher shelf right up here. This is a Pyroraptor with the red body and the black legs, tail, and face. It looks pretty evil, I will say. It's got like almost like a mischievous grin on its face almost. I'm gonna put this Pyroraptor right next to the extreme battle damage Allosaurus. This is the Rajasaurus. I've bought this figure really recently. It's got the dark blue body and some lighter detailing on its neck and under its chin too. Let's put this right next to the Therizinosaurus. And I do believe I actually have another Rajasaurus in here. Yep, here it is. This one is brown with some blue detailing on its back and neck. So it is totally different from this other Rajasaurus that we have. But I'm gonna put them side by side. This next Jurassic World Dominion figure is the Ankylosaurus. It's got the clay red body and this super long neck, and you can use the button on its tail to open and close its mouth. Let's put the Ankylosaurus right next to the Spinosaurus. Here we've got two identical Atrociraptor figures, but one is miniature and one is a lot larger. So let's check out this first one. This is a basic figure, so you can't move it too much, and the jaw doesn't open and close, but it still is a great display figure. So let's put this right next to the Megaraptor. And let's take this little Atrociraptor figure and put it right next to the larger one too. Next up is the Yangchuanosaurus with the green body and the brown and red detailing. Let's put this dinosaur right next to this T-Rex here. This is a pretty cool looking dinosaur. This is the Siamosaurus. It's got the red spine and red face, and the rest of its body is a dark blue color. Let's put this dinosaur right next to the Ankylosaurus. This is the Sound Surge Tyrannosaurus Rex. This is a bit smaller of a figure than many T-Rex figures, but it still has some pretty awesome sound effects. Let's go ahead and put this T-Rex actually right next to this other T-Rex. So we need to move this Yangchuanosaurus and put this T-Rex down right in between. Here we have an Iguanodon figure. This figure is tan, dark brown, and it has some lighter detailing on its back, and it has an action when you press down on its body. It moves its neck up and down. Let's put this Iguanodon right next to the Siamosaurus. I've got a Rowdy Roars Atrociraptor. This one is bright orange, so a bit different coloring than the ones that we saw earlier, and it also has some sound effects that come with it too. Let's put this Atrociraptor actually on the very tall shelf. I've got some space up here too. Here is another Rowdy Roars figure. This is the Dilophosaurus figure, and it also comes with sound effects as well. That's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and put this also on the very top shelf. This is the Hammond Collection Baryonyx figure. So it is super posable and a bit more detailed than normal. And it's also got some cool coloring with the gray and the white and the dark blue on top. Let's put this Baryonyx right next to these Atrociraptors. Here is a miniature Carnotaurus figure. It's got the dark green and orange body. That's pretty cool. Let's put this figure right in front of the big Giganotosaurus figure. See if we can fit it in. Right there. Let's see what else we got. We got another Atrociraptor figure. This one is tan with brown striping. So let's go ahead and put this right next to the other Atrociraptors. And I've also got a few extreme battle damage figures in here too. This first one is a Velociraptor with battle damage on the side. Let's put this one right next to the Baryonyx figure. I've also got the extreme battle damage Coeluris figure. Let's put this figure right in front of the Ichthyovenator on this top shelf. And I've also got the extreme battle damage Dimetrodon figure. It's got the light green body and the orange spine. Let's put this figure right in between the Yangchuanosaurus and the Rajasaurus. Next up, I've got the Moros Intrepidus figure with the green body and the orange tail and orange stripe. I'm gonna put this dinosaur right next to the Iguanodon figure. And next is the Miragaia figure. This figure is darker colored. It's got some black and a dark blue-green color in the back. And it's got those huge spikes coming out of its shoulders too. Let's put this figure right next to the extreme battle damage Velociraptor. And last but not least, I've got these 3 super colossal figures. Let's first put this huge Giganotosaurus figure and put him up at the top of the shelf up here. There we go. That is a huge figure. Next, I've got the Atrociraptor with brown striping, and you'll see on this one that there's 2 tones of brown color on it. And I'm gonna take this figure and put it up on the top of this shelf to the left over here. That's pretty cool. So now it's like the Atrociraptor and Giganotosaurus are fighting. And finally, I've got the Tyrannosaurus Rex figure. And I'm gonna put this figure down below on this lower shelf next to these other super colossal figures.
Today on Amazing Dinosaurs, we are checking out Camp Cretaceous predators versus Jurassic World Dominion predators. Let's get started with one of the biggest Dominion predators that I have. This is the new T-Rex figure. This newest T-Rex figure has a ginormous head, the tiny arms that are classic for a T-Rex, and you can use the tail to move the torso around and open and close the jaw. Our first Camp Cretaceous predator is this huge Spinosaurus figure in the tan, brown, and red coloring. This figure is quite adjustable. It has much larger arms than the T-Rex figure, and you can move the head in all different directions and open and close its jaw. This predator over here from Jurassic World Dominion is the Giganotosaurus. And this is one of the biggest stars in the new movie. It has a pretty awesome spine running along its back. It looks pretty sharp and dangerous. And this figure has 2 features. The first swings its torso back and forth, and the second opens and closes its jaw. Next, let's grab one of these huge, super colossal Camp Cretaceous predators. This is the Indominus Rex, and this figure is so much larger than all the other figures I have. It's got some spikes on the back of its neck, even on its elbows. It's got some huge claws, and of course, the iconic teeth. Back to the Dominion side, we've got a huge Allosaurus figure. This figure also stands on its 2 hind legs. It's got some medium-sized front arms, and it has a button on its back to control the jaw. And there's battle damage on the side that you can open and close. Let's go ahead and grab this other super colossal figure from Camp Cretaceous. This figure is a Carnotaurus, and it is actually the Carnotaurus Toro figure. It's got little spikes running down all of its back. It's got some huge horns on the top of its head, and on the other side of its head, it actually has a huge battle damage scar. That is really cool. This Dominion predator is the Dino Tractor Endoraptor figure. It's got a really cool dark blue reflective painting all over its body, along with the classic gold stripe down both sides. And this figure has some pretty cool features. First, you can use the arms to twist its head around and open its mouth. And there's also a button on its back that activates the jaw just by itself. Check out those eyes that light up too. Here is our first T-Rex predator from Camp Cretaceous. This figure has the tiny front arms and the huge back legs. And with this figure, you can use the tail to twist its neck, move it all around in all sorts of different directions, and look super realistic. But wait, we've also got a T-Rex figure from Jurassic World Dominion. This predator has the battle damage on the side that you can turn on and off, and the coloring is quite a bit different from the Camp Cretaceous version. It's a lot darker, there's some orange, and then even the top is different as well. This is a much smaller Carnotaurus Toro figure from Camp Cretaceous. It's got a much darker red coloring than the super colossal version we saw, although it still has the battle damage scar right on its nose. And with this figure, you can use the tail to twist its neck around and open and close its jaw. Check out those sound effects too. Our next Dominion Predator is actually a brand new one that I'm gonna open up right here today. This is the Scorpio Venator from the Roar Strikers series. This dinosaur species kind of reminds me of a Carnotaurus, although its snout is a lot shorter and it doesn't have the horns on the top of its head. And it's got some pretty cool coloring as well, with the yellow, the dark blue, and the white. And this figure has an action where you press down on its body and it chomps. This Camp Cretaceous predator is the Scorpius Rex figure, and I've actually got two of them right here. This one is the larger one though. This one has a dark blue coloring and the black on top with two action buttons. The first activates its jaw, and the second activates its slashing arms. Plus, it has a spring-loaded tail so you can swing those poisonous quills back and forth. Here is my second Scorpius Rex figure from Camp Cretaceous. It's a bit smaller, and you can see it has green coloring instead of the dark blue and the yellow underbelly as well. And this figure is quite adjustable. You can move its arms, its elbows, you can move its legs and knees and the tail around as well, but there is no action button for this one, so you have to control all the parts manually. This predator from Jurassic World Dominion is the Rajasaurus. I've actually got two figures of this species, and this one is in the light brown and dark blue coloring. It's got some interesting spikes and a horn on the top of its head, and it has a chomping action when you press down on its body. Up next from Camp Cretaceous is the Cryolophosaurus figure. I've also got two of this species as well. This one is in the dark blue, white, and red coloring, and it comes with a ton of sound effects and a tail that moves the head around. This predator is the Pyroraptor from Jurassic World Dominion. It's a basic figure, so it doesn't have a whole lot going on with its coloring, but it's got some cool texturing with the feathers you can see on its tail, as well as on the top of its head too. Back here from Dominion as well is another raptor, but this one is actually a Megaraptor figure. It's got some similar red coloring with some dark blue, and this figure has a chomping action when you press down on its body. This predator from Camp Cretaceous is the Sarcosuchus. It has some pretty bright and crazy coloring that you probably wouldn't see out in the wild, with the purple, there's some red and orange, and then the blue underbelly. But this one has a really long snout with tons of teeth, which I think is a really cool feature. Plus, you can operate the jaw by pressing the button on the tail. Here's a dinosaur that probably not too many people are familiar with. This is the Yangchuanosaurus. It stands on its two back legs, it has some medium-sized front arms, it's got a bright crown on the top of its head, and some cool ridges that run all the way down its neck. And this figure features two actions. You can use the tail to twist the torso back and forth, and the button on the tail activates the jaw. This dark green Albertosaurus figure is from Camp Cretaceous. It's got the orange stripe running down both sides of its body. And while there's not a whole lot that you can move on this figure, there is an action button on its tail, both to move the head around and open and close the jaw. Here is another one of my newest figures in the Dominion collection. This is from the Dino Trackers series. This is, I believe it's pronounced an Eocarcharia. It's got the feather texturing all over its body, just like the Pyroraptor, and it has an action slide on its back used to open its mouth and twist its neck back and forth. This is the Dominion Atrociraptor, and I think it's one of the first Atrociraptors in this collection. This one is a pretty basic figure, so you can move the arms, the legs, and the tail, but it doesn't have any action buttons or features. This Predator is the Baryonyx figure from Camp Cretaceous. It's got the green and brown body and an action button on its back to activate its long jaw. Here is the second Giganotosaurus of this Predator collection. This is a much smaller version of the Giganotosaurus, but it still has the same awesome coloring, and it comes with sound effects as well. Over here from Camp Cretaceous, we've got another Baryonyx figure. It has similar coloring with the green and brown, and also an action button on its back to activate its jaw. Now check out this Atrociraptor figure from Dominion. This is part of the Rowdy Roars collection. You can press the button on the top of its head for sound effects and some movement. And you can touch its jaw and it'll move around as well. Here is our last Camp Cretaceous Predator of this collection. This is the Ceratosaurus. It's got the huge horn on the top of its head and the classic Ceratosaurus coloring, and a slide lever action for sound effects and moving the jaw. And here is a much smaller Carnotaurus figure from Jurassic World Dominion. It's got the broken horn on the top of its head and very different coloring compared to the Camp Cretaceous Carnotaurus figures.
Today, we're going to be taking all of my Jurassic World Dominion figures and we're going to be putting them from biggest over here all the way to smallest down here. This figure right here is the largest Dominion figure that I have. This is the Dreadnoughtus figure, and it is super long. It's probably 3 or 4 feet in length, but it still has some really cool features. You can even open and close the mouth and twist the head around too. So let's put this dinosaur on the very far left as the biggest dinosaur. Let's see, what super colossal figure is next? It's a tough call, but I think the Giganotosaurus might be the next largest. This figure is huge, has a classic green coloring, the awesome super sharp spine, and the really cool teeth. These are pretty unique. Let's set this super colossal Giganotosaurus down right next to the Dreadnoughtus figure. These are our 2 largest figures. Next up has got to be our super colossal T-Rex with the new brown and black coloring. You won't see this on older Jurassic World figurines. This one is super cool. Let's put this right next to our giant Giganotosaurus figure. Next is this awesome Atrociraptor figure. This one is the white with 2 different tones of brown striping along its back and sides. And unlike the other super colossal figures we've seen so far, the teeth are actually fully inside the mouth compared to the other figures we've seen so far where the teeth are on kind of like the outside of the mouth. All right, there we go. Let's move on to the next biggest, which is this tall Brachiosaurus figure from Jurassic World Dominion. Let me stand it up. Now this dinosaur is a lot taller than these other dinosaurs right here, but its body is a bit smaller and it's just shorter in size overall, so that's why I'm putting it over here. But it's got some pretty cool detailing, the blue coloring around its head. And next up in size is this giant Apatosaurus figure. Check out the size difference between this one and the Brachiosaurus over here. It's a little bit shorter, it's still standing on all 4 legs, and it has a really long neck, but instead of going up super tall like that one, this one kind of sticks out forwards more. All right, now we're moving on to our slightly smaller figurines. We're gonna start with this T-Rex, which has the identical coloring as the super colossal figure right over there. This is a really cool T-Rex. I like the features on this one, and this one has a ginormous head compared to older Jurassic World T-Rexes. Right over here, we've got the Hammond Collection Tyrannosaurus Rex figure. This one has some really cool orange-brown coloring. It has a lot more detail than many of the other Jurassic World T-Rexes. It even has marbled eyes. Check out all that texture. And these figures are super posable too, which is an awesome feature. Next, we've got this Thrashing Giganotosaurus figure in the same coloring as the super colossal figure over here. They look pretty similar. This one's quite a bit smaller, although it's still probably around a foot in length from tail to head. So let's set this down right next to the T-Rex figure. All right, what do we go with next here? I think next is this Allosaurus figure. This figure is a little bit smaller than the T-Rexes and the Giganotosaurus figure here, but it is a lot larger than a lot of my other Allosaurus figures. Plus, it has a battle damage feature right on its side that you can open and close. Let's get this standing right next to the Giganotosaurus. The next up in size is the Therizinosaurus figurine, which was really cool in the Dominion movie. So we're gonna set this down right next to the Allosaurus figure. And check out those huge claws on its hand and the really long neck with the big face at the very top. We've got another herbivore dinosaur next in size here. This is the Stegosaurus with some pretty cool coloring. It's got the brown, some lighter tan, green, and then the clay red at the very top. All right, let's set it down next to the Therizinosaurus. Look at those spikes. They're a little bit taller than the Therizinosaurus, although if this was standing up all the way, it would definitely be a lot taller. Here is the Yangchuanosaurus figure. This, I don't think, was in the new Jurassic World Dominion movie, but it came out as part of the toy line. It's got some really cool coloring. It's got an action that lets you move the neck around in a lifelike way. And you know what? I think it is actually a little bit bigger than the Stegosaurus. So let's shift the Stegosaurus over and put this dinosaur right there. Next is a really interesting looking dinosaur. This is the Ankylosaurus. It's got the clay red coloring with the brown top, a super long neck, and it stands on 4 legs. Let's put this right next to the Stegosaurus figure. I can't quite tell which one is the next largest, but I'm gonna go with the Rajasaurus figure in the blue and gray coloring. And it's got that cool little spike right at the top of its head. Now let's set it right next to the Ankylosaurus. Let's see if it stands up. I think its legs are kind of broken, so that'll have to do. Here is the Sound Surge Giganotosaurus figure. Once again, it has pretty similar coloring as the super colossal figure right here, and this one comes with sound effects as well. It's pretty cool, so let's set this right next to the Rajasaurus figure. The next in size, I think, is this Pyroraptor figurine. This is the basic edition, but it still has the cool fiery red coloring and the black on its tail, on its legs, and a little bit on its head too. Let's set them down right here. And very close in size to the Pyroraptor is this basic Atrociraptor figure in the same coloring as the super colossal figure that we have back here. So let's go down all the way to the end and set them on the table. All right, now the figures are getting a little bit smaller. I think next up is the Megaraptor figure in the bright red and blue and a little bit of tan right along its face. And this figure is cool because it actually has an action when you press down on its back. It has a chomping action. Here is, I believe it's pronounced the Dryptosaurus. And a cool new feature that Mattel is putting on these toys is this little slide. It's like a thing that swings back and forth, and it actually swings their head back and forth and opens their mouth too, which is pretty cool. Now let's set it down right next to the Megaraptor. Next is the Hammond Collection Baryonyx figure. This one comes in the gray, dark blue with the yellow striping. And like all the Hammond Collection figures, is super posable and really cool. Let's put this down right at the end. Here we've got another Hammond Collection figurine. This is the Parasaurolophus. It's got some pretty bright coloring, and of course, is super posable and adjustable as well. Next is the bright Ichthyovenator. It looks kind of like a Spinosaurus because it has the big spine on its back and a long and narrow snout, but it has a super bright and much larger tail, and is a lot smaller than a Spinosaurus, I think. So let's go ahead and put this down right next to the Parasaurolophus. Here we've got a huge Sinoceratops figurine with some bright yellow coloring around its all black eyes and the yellow coloring right on its tail as well. And like many of these other figures, it has the action that when you press down on its back, it lifts up its head. Let's see, next up in size is this Triceratops figure in the green and brown coloring. Let's put this at the very end. Oh, you know what? It looks like we're out of space at the very end though. So let's create a new row in the front, right up here. We've got another Triceratops figure next, but this one is from the Hammond collection. So compared to this other Triceratops figure right here, you can see that this one has a lot more detailing and differencing in the color, because this one basically has two different colors. This one kind of fades into all sorts of other different colors. And of course, is a lot more posable as well. Next up is the Iguanodon figurine in the tan and darker brown on top with the striping. Let's set down this Iguanodon right next to the Triceratops. Now we're down to the really small ones. So let's start with this brand new one that I bought. This is the Geniodectes cirrus dinosaur. All right, this dinosaur is pretty brightly colored. It's got a dark gray body, but then it has this super bright coloring along its leg, its neck, its face, and the super bright red on top. And this is the extreme battle damage edition, so you can click it open and closed with that button on the top. All right, let's put this Geniodectes down right next to the Iguanodon. We've got a few more extreme battle damage dinosaurs right here that are the same size. This first one is a Velociraptor, and I've also got an Atrociraptor figure. And they both have that button on the top that activates the battle damage on both sides of its body. Let's set these down next in line. I've got a couple more Atrociraptor figures right here. These are the non-battle damage versions. I've got an orange one with the tan striping, and then of course the white with brown striping, just like the giant super colossal version. Let's get this first Atrociraptor down, and the second one. Here is another Pyroraptor. This is a pretty small figure, and this one actually has the extreme battle damage on the side as well. Check that out, it's pretty cool. It's got the same classic red and black coloring along its body. And let's set it down right next to the white Atrociraptor. This next figure, I believe, is called the Moros Intrepidus. It's got some pretty unique green and orange coloring. It's got the light green eyes, some pretty cool feathering and detailing all over its body. And let's set it down as the next smallest dinosaur. All right, now we're getting down to the real small dinosaurs. These are both Dimetrodons, and their spines make them look really tall, but actually their bodies are really short. This first brown Dimetrodon is a normal one, doesn't have any special features, so we'll put that next in line. But this other Dimetrodon actually has battle damage on the side, like many of these other small figures, which is pretty cool. So let's set that down right there. And here are our last two dinosaurs. We've got a Miragaia dinosaur with the huge spikes on the side, and we've also got a Therizinosaurus figure, which is really small, but still has the giant claws and the classic coloring. All right, let's set these down. Looks like we have just enough space. Welcome to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today we're checking out a collection of my Jurassic Park figures versus my Jurassic World Dominion figures. So these are my oldest figures versus my newest figures. Let's get started with this giant T-Rex from Jurassic Park. This is JP29. This figure is rubbery all over aside from its legs and its arms, and you can use the tail to swing its head back and forth. Over here is the Slash and Roar Giganotosaurus. This figure is pretty big. It's about the size of many of my T-Rex figures, and it has two actions. The first button activates the torso for swinging back and forth, and the second button activates its jaw. Over here on the Jurassic Park side, we've got a Utah Raptor. This is JP22. This figure also has the all rubbery body aside from its arms and its legs, and it has a chomping action when you press down on its tail. And check it out, it's got pink eyes. I don't think I have another dinosaur with those color eyes. Next, from Jurassic World Dominion, we've got the giant new T-Rex figure. This figure is huge and comes with a few features. First, you can move the tail back and forth, which swings its torso back and forth, and there's also a button on its jaw to activate opening and closing the jaw too. Over here from Jurassic Park, we've got another huge T-Rex figure. This figure has a rubbery body, just like all the other Jurassic Park T-Rexes, and this one actually has marbled eyes. Plus, this figure has a stomach compartment, so you can actually feed this dinosaur small dinosaurs, and then you can release them from the stomach down here. Next up, from Jurassic World Dominion, we've got an Ankylosaurus figure. This figure has the clay red body with the brown detailing. It's got spikes all over its body, and the tail controls the head, and there's a button to activate the jaw too. From Jurassic Park, this is JP35, and I actually can't remember the name of this species, so comment down below if you recognize which dinosaur figure this is. But it's got these interesting wing-like things coming off of its arms. It's also got some huge spikes coming out of its head and its back, and of course it's got a super long tail with those spikes at the very end as well. From Jurassic World Dominion, this is a Megaraptor figure. This figure is red in the back and a dark gray-blue color in the front, and it comes with an action that when you press down on its back, it chomps. Check out those super long claws on its hand too. Check this out, we've got a younger looking Tyrannosaurus Rex from Jurassic Park. This is the JP06 figure. It's got some battle damage on the side, it's got a full rubber body, and it looks pretty full grown, but because it's a bit smaller, that's what makes me think it's a juvenile T-Rex. This is the Pyroraptor figure from Jurassic World Dominion. It's got the classic red coloring on its body with the black on its tail and its legs, and some further detailing on its face too. This is a basic figure, so you can only move the arms, the legs, and the tail just a bit. This is the Hammond Collection Ceratosaurus figure. This dinosaur has some pretty bright coloring all over its body, and of course it's got the iconic red coloring around its face and on its back. And since this figure is from the Hammond Collection, it is superposable, and you can move all the joints in all sorts of directions. Here is the Jurassic Park Stegosaurus figure. This is JP24. It's got some battle damage right on its shoulder up there, and some smooth green coloring throughout the rest of its body. And this figure actually has an action button. When you move this part up here, it swings its tail back and forth. From the Dominion series, we have the ginormous Therizinosaurus figure. This figure is mostly black, and it has some pretty cool detailing with all the feathers, and of course it's got the iconic red stripe up its back, and those huge claws on its hand too. Check out how big those are. And this figure has an action where you can move the tail to control the torso, and open and shut the jaw too. Check it out, I actually found a much smaller Therizinosaurus in this collection as well. It has much of the same coloring with the dark blue everywhere and the red on its back, but this figure is way smaller. Next from Jurassic Park is JP19, a Parasaurolophus figure. This is light tan with some darker striping along its back, and it's got the bright red along the back of its head too.
Plus, it's got an action button on its back to move its legs for running. Here from Dominion, I've got 2 Rajasaurus figures. They look identical aside from their coloring. This first one is a dark blue color. It's got some lighter white on its chin and its neck as well, while this one is a light brown color with some dark blue detailing along its back and neck. And both have the same action button that when you press down on their back, they have a chomping action. Here is a ginormous Triceratops figure from the Jurassic Park collection. This is JP08. This one also has some battle damage right there on its shoulder, and it's got the rubbery body, just like many of the other Jurassic Park figures. And when you press down on this figure's stomach, it actually lifts its head up as well. Next up, we've got a few Baryonyx figures from Jurassic Park. This one is JP63. They look identical aside from the coloring again. This one is a dark brown color with some brighter detailing, and this one is a bright yellow color with darker detailing along the top. And both these figures have the same action that when you press down on their leg, they twist their neck back and forth. Here is the Dominion Sound Surge Carnotaurus figure. Let's check out those sound effects. That's pretty cool. It's got some pretty plain coloring along its body, but you can still move the legs, the arms, and the tail as well. I've also got the Sound Surge Giganotosaurus from Jurassic World Dominion. This figure is about the same size as the Carnotaurus we just saw, and many of the same features. You can move its arms, its legs, and its tail, and it comes with some cool sound effects too. This next one, I believe, is called an Amargospinus. This is JP58. This is a really old figure. It's got some pretty cool detailing and coloring though. Plus, when you move the dinosaur's leg, you can see that the spines actually stick up on its back, on its neck, and it opens its jaw too. Here is a good old Triceratops from Jurassic Park. This is JP44. It's a smaller figure with the green body and the darker detailing on top. And when you move the leg on this figure, it lifts its head up too. Looks like I've got a few Atrociraptor figures in here. Check it out, they're all about the same size. This first one is a light tan color and is actually in the crawling or sneaking pose, whereas these other two are just in the normal standing pose. This one I think is my favorite coloring because it's a lot brighter and pretty cool looking. Next from Jurassic Park, we've got another Velociraptor figure. This one is striped all over its body and it's got the light underbelly. And you can move the arms and the legs just a little bit. And the neck used to chomp downwards, but I think it's a little broken now. Check it out, I've got another Atrociraptor figure, but this one is a lot larger than the ones I just showed you. This one has the classic white and brown striping coloring and those awesome red eyes as well. But this is a basic figure, so you can only move the arms, the legs, and the tail just a little bit, and you can't open the jaw at all. Right over here, it looks like I've got a baby dinosaur. This is JP58, and this originally came in an egg that you can open up. And look, it's got those marbled eyes as well. That's a pretty cool feature. Here is another Velociraptor figure, but this one has a broken leg feature. Look at that, you can actually move its leg a little bit like that. Plus, you can move the rest of its body as well. The legs, the arms, and you can open and close the jaw too. This Jurassic Park figure, I believe, is called the Chasmosaurus. This is JP21. This looks kind of like a Triceratops, but it has some different features on the front of its body. And this figure has an action that when you move its leg, it lifts its head up. And it has sound effects too. Here is a small Carnotaurus figure from Jurassic World Dominion. It's got the dark green body with the orange detailing on top. This Dilophosaurus figure is from Jurassic Park, and it looks quite a bit different from the new Jurassic World Dilophosaurus figures, don't you think? This is the extreme battle damage Coelurus from Jurassic World Dominion. It's got the green body with the clay red detailing along its legs and its tail, and of course it's got the battle damage on its side that you can turn on and off. Right over here, we've got a Spinosaurus figure from Jurassic Park. This figure is pretty bright with that bright green coloring right next to the dark gray color. And it has an action button that when you move its arm, it opens and closes its jaw. Over here, this is our last Dominion figure. This is the extreme battle damage Velociraptor. Check out that battle damage on its side. And last of all, we've got a Jurassic Park Velociraptor. This is a very classic figure. It's got the brown sides with the black detailing on top and the jaw that you can open and close by pressing on its head.
Welcome back to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today we are checking out a bunch of old Jurassic Park versus Jurassic World figurines. A lot of these figures you can't find anywhere except on like eBay, and they might be actually pretty expensive in some cases. Plus, I've even got some brand new Jurassic World figures that we're gonna open up as well today. So let's get started. First up of the brand new dinosaurs is the Megaraptor. This is a flying dinosaur, so let's open it up and check it out. So this flying dinosaur is pretty brightly colored. It's got yellow wings and a yellow body, and then it's got the brown on the very top and on the neck and on the head. You can see there's a bit more bright coloring right on its horn and right along its eyes and nose as well. See if you can open up the mouth. Yep. You can adjust the wings and you can move the neck around as well. And the DNA barcode is right there. Next up is the Moros Intrepidus. Let's check it out. This dinosaur is from the Jurassic World Ferocious pack, and it's pretty adjustable. You can see it's got a soft green color throughout most of its body. It's got some white, and then the orange tail at the back. Let's see if we can open up the mouth. Oh, it's really difficult, but you can. And its joints are pretty articulated as well. You can move the arms, the neck, you can move the legs, and the tail too. Here we've got the Rowdy Roars Atrociraptor. Let's check it out. All right, here is the Atrociraptor. Just put batteries in it, so let's see what it can do. You can see that there's a button up top here and a power switch. Let's turn on the power and let's press the button and see what happens. Oh, that's interesting. So the body does move. It does like this little wiggling thing. If I put it down on the table, I bet it would walk. That's pretty interesting. I do love the coloring on this as well. It is a bright orange color over most of its body. It's got the brown on the top and a little bit of yellow detailing on the legs. It's pretty cool. And last of the brand new dinosaurs is Velociraptor Charlie from the Camp Cretaceous set. All right, another Velociraptor to add to my huge Velociraptor collection. And it's got an action button right here on the top for some slashing. Let's check that out. Looks like it doesn't work too well. Yeah, the slashing action seems like it kind of gets stuck a bit. But still, this is a pretty cool Velociraptor. It's pretty articulate with all its joints. I think this will look great with all my other Velociraptors. All right, let's dig into this giant bin of old Jurassic Park and Jurassic World figures. This is the 1993 Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's got a soft body all over. Its legs are made of hard plastic, as well as its arms are hard plastic that swivel. And this T-Rex has a chomping action. When you squeeze the soft stomach, its mouth opens and closes. It's a little old, so it's not working quite as well as it used to. This is pretty cool. This is a huge T-Rex. Here we've got another vintage Jurassic Park Tyrannosaurus Rex. This T-Rex also has a soft body, except for its legs is a hard plastic, as well as its arms again, that you can swivel back and forth. And with this T-Rex, instead of squeezing the stomach, you can move the tail and it moves its head around. That's pretty cool. This is a super old dinosaur figure. This is the Stomp and Strike T-Rex. This is one of the older Jurassic World figures. And how it works is, set it up like that, so it's in the roar position, and then you activate the tail and it comes swinging down for a chomp. That is pretty cool. Here we've got a super special and pretty hard to find Jurassic World hybrid Indominus Rex. Let's check out the features of this dinosaur. First, with the arm, you pull that, then it has a chomping action. Second, there's a hidden button right here that when you press,
it shoots out its spikes. I'm super glad I have this Indominus Rex, and I love the gold on the underbelly too. That is something you don't see very often. Here is another vintage Jurassic Park dinosaur. This is the Utah Raptor. See, it's got the JP22 right there on its legs. It's got some huge claws on its feet that are adjustable, and you can move the legs and the arms. And with this Utah Raptor, you can actually pull the legs back to lock into place, and then there's a hidden button underneath its tail that you press to swing them forward. So it's like a chomping action when it's standing up. Here is a vintage Jurassic Park Allosaurus. This dinosaur has a hard plastic body all around, and you can see that some body parts actually come off to reveal battle damage underneath. Look how detailed that is too. You can see like intestines in there, you can see some bone on the part that you take out. And there's even other parts that you can take out too. You can take out part of its leg, see its bone and its muscle right there. And you can even take out part of its tail too. Let's check out that bone underneath. And it just clicks right back into place. Here is another hybrid dinosaur. This is from the old Jurassic World toy line. This is a hybrid Tyrannosaurus Rex. You see those spines right on the top there. You can actually hide them, and the ones right next to its head. And then when you press this button right here, they'll all slide out. That's pretty cool. Plus, that button doubles as a chomping button. This has some pretty unique coloring on it too. This one back here is a Jurassic Park vintage toy. I believe this is a baby T-Rex, if I remember correctly. You can see it has some battle damage right there on the side. And like many of the other vintage figures that I have, its body is soft, aside from its hands and its feet. And it's got a mostly brown body with a darker brown spots and stripes as well. Back here, we've got a special edition Ankylosaurus. This one's pretty special because it actually has this additional shell that you can remove to reveal the normal shell. And look, it's even got some battle damage right there on the side. So this is pretty cool, and you just flick it right back on. And this Ankylosaurus has an action as well. When you move this leg back and forth, you can see that it sticks its head out, and it swings its tail too. Here's another Jurassic World T-Rex. You won't see the JW tattoo on its leg because this one was colored differently. So this one is a red color with black spots and stripes all over, and it's got the chomping action button on its back too. This is pretty cool. Right over here, we've got another vintage Jurassic World figure made by Kenner. This is the Chasmosaurus. It's got that huge shield in the front. It's got the 3 horns on its head. Plus, with this figure, when you move the leg, it moves its head up and down for a roaring action. This is a Ceratosaurus with battle damage. It's got the red on the top with the black stripes, and the rest of its body is a light tan color. And it's pretty articulate with the arms and the legs. Plus, with the tail, when you move that up and down, it opens and closes its mouth. Here we've got an even smaller T-Rex. This is also from the old Jurassic World toy line. It's got the battle damage on the side. Arms and legs can move, and with the tail, you can control the head. You can go up and down, back and forth, and you can open and close the mouth all in one. Right over here is a big winged dinosaur. I believe this is a Pteranodon. You can fold in the wings, make it easier for storage, and it's got 2 buttons on its back. One flaps the wings, and one opens and closes the mouth. Here we've got a bunch of classic Jurassic World Velociraptors. I have a ton of these. You can see that these 2 are tan with the green striping on top. This one is a dark green with the black striping on top. And with each of them, you can move the arms and the legs. Can't open the mouth or close them or anything like that. But these are actually some of my biggest Velociraptors, which is pretty cool. This is the Ankyloranodon, and it's a pretty weird looking dinosaur. It's got a light color over most of its body and the bright red striping right on the top all the way to the tail. See, it's got some spikes or feathers or something like that on the top of its head, on its back, and on its arms, like wings as well as right on the tip of its tail. And with this figure, you can move its leg up and down for a roaring or chomping action. Here we've got a basic Jurassic World Spinosaurus. You can't open and close the mouth or adjust the neck on this one, and it is smaller than a lot of the other Spinosaurus figures that I have. But it's still got the same iconic coloring as my other Spinosauruses, with the red on the top, the white in the middle, and the green on the bottom, as well as the red right around its eyes. Next up, from Jurassic World, we've got a Dilophosaurus that is super brightly colored with orange and green and yellow. This is a super colorful dinosaur. Plus, with this figure, it comes with an action. When you move the tail up and down, it swings its head up and down. Over here, from Jurassic World again, is a Ceratosaurus with pretty unique coloring. It's got brown over its whole body, and then a light orange detailing on its back all the way to its horn. And the action button on its back activates its roar and its jaw. Next up, from the Jurassic World toy line, JP63, we've got a classic Baryonyx. This dinosaur is super thin looking, and with its right foot, you can move it back and forth to twist its neck back and forth too. Here is another hybrid dinosaur from Jurassic World. This looks to be like a Triceratops and Stegosaurus hybrid. Plus, it's got the battle damage right there on the side. This dinosaur is super bright with a light blue on most of its body and dark blue detailing on its feet and in the front too. And this dinosaur has an action. When you move the tail, it swings its head forward for a stabbing action. This one is a similar hybrid as the one we just saw, but with different coloring. You can see it's a dark green with some tan detailing on its body, with the same battle damage. I believe this is also a Stegosaurus and Triceratops hybrid, with the same stabbing action too. This classic Jurassic Park figure, I believe, is called an Amargospinus. It's got some bright red accenting on the top of its body. It's got some horns right there on its neck, and the rest of its body is black and tan. Let's check out the actions on this dinosaur. You can see when you move this leg, it activates those spines to go up. It also moves those spines on its neck, and it opens and closes its mouth for a roar too. So it's doing 3 things at once. I see a few more Jurassic World Velociraptors. See, we've got the dark green with black striping. We've got a brown with gray striping. We've got a special one over here that is a bright green with red striping. And this one actually has a few actions on it. It's got a battle damage button right on its side, and the tail activates the mouth too. I think there's one more back here. Yep, here is another Velociraptor, also with the battle damage on its side and the tail chomping action. This figure is another vintage Jurassic Park figure made by Kenner. This is a Pachycephalosaurus. You can see it's still got the restraint around its waist, but when you take that off, you can see that there's actually some battle damage revealed underneath, which is pretty cool. And as you're probably guessing, since it's a Pachycephalosaurus, the action button that you press right here is for the headbutting. But this figure is so old that it'll actually fly off. As you can see, it's kind of broken. But that's still a pretty cool action for a Pachycephalosaurus. Over here, we've got some small Jurassic World Indominus Rex figures. This one's the smallest, so let's check this one out first. You can see that there's some battle damage on the side, and just like those smaller T-Rexes we saw earlier, you can use the tail to control the face to open and close the mouth, to move the neck around, and all that. This slightly larger Indominus Rex has battle damage as well, but you can open and close this one actually. And then you can just pop it right open. Plus, you can use the tail for the chomping action too. Here's a big dinosaur. This is from the Jurassic World Legacy Collection. This is the Extreme Chompin' Spinosaurus. It's got the green body with the red and white stripe. And of course, you can move the neck around and activate the chomping with the button on the top of its head. Here's an even smaller Spinosaurus, but this one looks a lot different. This is an older Spinosaurus figure from Jurassic World. See that it's blue along most of its body. It's got some gold coloring on its belly, and then the bright red spine. And like the small Indominus Rex and small T-Rexes that we saw earlier, you can use the tail to move the neck and open and close the jaw. We've got another big T-Rex. This is from Jurassic World. It's tan in color all over its body, and it's got the button on the top of its back that activates the jaw. Here is another vintage Jurassic Park Baryonyx. This is another super slim dinosaur again. You can see it's got the orange striping on the top, and like the other Baryonyx from Jurassic Park, when you move this leg, it twists its head around. Here we've got a super weird looking dinosaur from Jurassic Parks. This is a Lycanops. Kind of looks like a saber-toothed tiger in a way. It's got those huge fangs in its mouth, and the mouth is spring-loaded so you can open and close it. This is from Jurassic World, and I believe this is the Proceratosaurus. You can see most of its body is a light tan color with some gray detailing on its back all the way up to its face, and it's got the bright red right on top of its face too. Here is another Pachycephalosaurus, but this one is from the old Jurassic World line. And you can see with the tail that you can move its head up and down and back and forth. This is another Jurassic Park vintage toy, and it is, I believe, a Dilophosaurus. This figure is pretty small and pretty slim, but you can see those iconic frills right at the top of its head. Here are a few more Jurassic World figures. This, I believe, is another Pteranodon with wings that you can fold up or extend. It's got the action button on its back for flapping its wings. And with this figure, you have to manually open and close its mouth. There is no button for it. This figure is a Jurassic World Mosasaurus. You can see it's got the battle damage on the side that you can open and close. Plus, with this figure, you can use the front fins to activate the jaw. We've got some more Jurassic Park vintage figures in here. This first, I believe, is a Velociraptor with red on the top and orange on the sides. This other figure I have in my hand is a baby T-Rex. You can see with this baby T-Rex that you can actually move the leg around. You can see that it's broken in a way. It did originally come with a bandage that you use to cover that. But all in all, this is a pretty cool figure. Here is another hybrid Triceratops Stegosaurus from Jurassic World. It's got the battle damage on the side, and just like we saw with the other figures, you can use the tail for a stabbing action. Here are two other similar Jurassic World figures. Both of them have the tail chomping action. You can see this one is a T-Rex with battle damage, and this one is a Spinosaurus with battle damage. Let's check out those chomping actions. And last of all is the classic Velociraptor from Jurassic Park. Let's check it out. It's got the chomping action in the front, and you can adjust the arms and the legs too.
Hello and welcome back to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today, we're going to check out a bunch of giant dinosaurs that are in the new Jurassic World Dominion movie. And I've actually got some brand new toys as well to unbox. Let's get started with this big one right here. This is from the Jurassic World Dominion toy series that just came out. Let's open it up. All right, so we've got the Capture and Crush truck. And let's go ahead and click the arm into place. All right, this truck is used for capturing those dinosaurs, like this Velociraptor right here. Let's see it in action. Car's driving around, along comes this raptor, and you can use the claw to swoop down and pick up the raptor and then put it in the back of the truck. Just like that. Now we have a captured Velociraptor. Or is he captured? This is a really cool toy. And it even comes with a few more things as well. You've got a cannon in there. You've got some chains. And I think this truck actually has an additional feature to it. So check this out. The truck can actually break apart. When the Raptor comes along and it headbutts the front of the car, bam! Oh no, look out! The truck's broken! That is so cool. And you can even do that on the side too. You can headbutt it and wham! The car breaks. That is so awesome. This is one powerful Velociraptor. And next up of our brand new Jurassic World Dominion toys is this Owen Escape Pack. And look at all the dinosaurs that it comes with. And of course, Owen on his motorcycle. Let's open it up. All right, so this set comes with 3 dinosaurs. The first one is a giant Carnotaurus. Look at that, you can see its horns, and I think one of the horns is actually broken. It's a wounded Carnotaurus. And the other 2 dinosaurs are the mighty Atrociraptors. Look at the coloring on this one. It is striped. It's like bright orange with the white striping. That is crazy. And our other Atrociraptor, ooh, he's in that sneaking pose. He's stalking his prey, which is Owen right now. So you better watch out for this Atrociraptor, or he'll sneak up on you. And finally, we've got Owen up here, and he comes with a helmet and a tiny little knife. Let's check out Owen. All right, here is Owen. Fits on his motorcycle. It's a bright red motorcycle. And he zooms away while the Atrociraptors chase after him. Run! Next up in our brand new figures, we've got the Ankylosaurus, the Roar Strikers series. Let's open this dinosaur up. Here is the great and mighty Ankylosaurus. Look at all that armor plating on its back. And I love the coloring on this too. It's like a clay red color, and it's got brown on the top, and all those spikes are a nice bright tan color. And this toy comes with an action as well. You can push down on its back and it'll swing his tail. Watch out for that tail. All right, let's see what other dinosaurs we've got from the Jurassic World Dominion movie. Right here, we've got the good old classic Tyrannosaurus Rex. And this dinosaur actually comes with a cage that you can put on its face that it'll break out of. So right now he's trapped, and he's gonna break out in 3, 2, 1, go! That is so cool. This is an awesome dinosaur figure. Up next, we've got a giant Indominus Rex with battle damage. Look at the battle damage on the side right there. That's so cool. It comes with sound effects, and you can turn the battle damage on and off. And besides the battle damage on the side, you've also got the action where you can open and close its mouth with a button on its tail. This figure is ginormous. This one is super cool to display on my shelf. Over here, we've got another dinosaur with battle damage. This is a Tyrannosaurus Battle Damage Edition. Look at all that damage all over its body. It's got huge gashes on its chin and on its leg, on its side, and even a little bit on its face right there too. This is super cool. I love the detail to this. All the way in the back here, we've got the great Spinosaurus.
These dinosaurs are huge in real life. And I love the coloring on this one as well. Look at all that detail. And even look at the skin too. Look at all those bumps. It looks super realistic. Over here in the corner, we've got another T-Rex, but this one's a bit different than the other ones. It's a bright red, and it's got this action button on the tail. If you press it, there's a chomping action. That is super cool, and I love how bright this T-Rex is. All right, we've got a few more T-Rexes right here. This one is even bigger than this T-Rex over here. Let's check out this one first. This one has the ripping action. Wow, look at that. And it's got the tail action too. That is super cool. And this T-Rex right over here, it's a bit smaller, but still super ferocious. Look at this. We've got another giant Indominus Rex, just like the other one, except this one doesn't have battle damage. This one has a claw slashing action. Look at this. Right up front here, we've got a ginormous Triceratops. And look at that battle damage too. This dinosaur is quite rubbery. The whole outside is rubber, so it feels pretty lifelike. And when you squeeze its chest, its neck moves up and down. That is really cool. Let's keep digging in. Over here, we've got a mighty Carnotaurus with its great horns on the top and the tiny little arms in the front and the action button on its tail to operate its mouth. Uh-oh, you better watch out. We've got some of the most ferocious dinosaurs right here. These are the Scorpius Rexes. These things are super scary, and I like that they're mostly black, so they can actually sneak around in the dark easier than other dinosaurs. So you'd want to keep your eye out for these at the nighttime. And it's got the claw slashing action as well. Right up front, we've got a gigantic Stegosaurus. Look at this. And it's got some action buttons as well. Look at that, you see? It's moving its head up and down. That is super cool. And on the other side here, if you press this one, it swings its tail back and forth. Oh no, watch out for those spikes. Stay out of the way. Check this out. This is one of my favorite Indominus Rex figures. Look at all the detail. This figure is more of the model because none of the parts move other than its mouth. But I love the coloring on it and how realistic it looks. All right, here are some of my favorite dinosaurs ever. These are giant velociraptors, and I love the coloring too. They're similar, but this one's like a more teal color, and this is a more jungle green color. I love the stripes and the speckled coloring on this dinosaur. And both of these velociraptors are super posable. Look at all the ways that you can move them. And even with the claws on their feet, you can move up and down. That is so cool. Oh, you better watch out. This is an Endoraptor. These dinosaurs are super scary and super smart. You better stay out of the way of these dinosaurs. Look at that gold on the side. And once again, this dinosaur is mostly black as well, so we can sneak around in the night. Look at this. We've got a few Dilophosauruses with their crazy looking frills. Stay out of the way of these dinosaurs, or they might spit venom at you. Ooh, right over here, we've got a few more Ankylosauruses. And look at the difference in coloring on these two as well. This one's a lot brighter. It's got that bright blue and like a yellow tan coloring on the bottom. And this one is a green and brown on the bottom. But they've both got those mighty spikes and the mighty armor plating. Let's see the action button on this one. Super cool. And what does this one have? Let's check it out. Let's keep going. There's so many more dinosaurs to see. Wow. Look at these two. I think these both are herbivores. I'm actually not sure what type of dinosaur they are. But look at this one. This one has a huge horn on its back. And this one kind of has like a crown on top. It's like a bright yellow right on the top of its head. And this one's got some action buttons as well. Let's see what it does. First button moves its neck, and the second button moves the tail. And on this dinosaur, you can wiggle the tail back and forth to move its head. How cool is that? Oh, check this out. We've got another model dinosaur. This is the mighty T-Rex. And look at that awesome pose that he's in. It's as if he's roaring right now. Oh, look out. We've got another Indominus Rex in here. This one comes with battle damage as well. And you click it. Bam! There's the battle damage. And the tail controls the head as well. Watch out for those chomps. Ooh, right over here. This is a Mosasaurus. This dinosaur swims in the ocean, and it is a ginormous dinosaur. All right, we've got even more Dilophosauruses in here. Check it out, we've got 3 more. This one is a giant one. And these two are smaller, but look at the coloring on these. That is so cool. And look at how different they all are. I love the variety in coloring, even for the same species of dinosaur. Oh, and here are some of my favorite dinosaurs again. The Velociraptors. We've got a green one right here. We've got a brown Velociraptor. And of course, the famous blue. Oh, I think there's even more Velociraptors in here. Here we go. We've got another green Velociraptor. This one looks like he's sneaking around, stalking his prey. And we've got this awesome bright red Velociraptor with green stripes on the back. And this Velociraptor actually has a jumping action. The legs are spring-loaded, so when you press down, it'll spring up into the air. 3, 2, 1. All right, these are our last dinosaurs of the bin. Look at this. I believe this is a pteranodon maybe, and it's got the battle damage on the top that you can open and close. We've also got a baby Triceratops, those massive horns in the front. Super cool. And also a cute little Gallimimus. And this coloring is really cool. It's got the blue top and the orange sides.
Welcome back to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today we are checking out my huge collection of T-Rex figures from Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, and more. And in fact, to start it off, I finally just got the Hammond Collection Tyrannosaurus Rex. So let's open this up first. I'm super excited. All right, here is the Hammond Collection Tyrannosaurus Rex. Let's check out the features of this dinosaur. So right off the bat, I noticed that it is a lot more adjustable than a lot of the other T-Rex figures. Like many of the other Hammond Collection figures, you see that it has many points of articulation. You can adjust the legs, the knees, the ankles, even at the arms, you can bend at the elbow too. You can also twist the torso and the neck, so you can move its whole body back and forth like that. And the tail actually has 2 points of articulation. And let's see the face. So it's got some pretty cool coloring. When you open its mouth up, you see that it actually has these rubbery flaps on the outside, so it feels a lot more lifelike. As well as the tongue is a soft rubber. And the eyes are actually like a marble substance, so it's clear, and then you can see the pupil inside. So the eyeballs aren't just painted on, those are actual like plastic eyes. And detail-wise with the coloring, obviously you can see it is a lot more detailed than the usual T-Rex figures from Jurassic World. The body has a more reflective, a very plasticky looking color to it, whereas the face has a much more matte finish, which I really like. Next up, we've got some huge super colossal T-Rex figures. This is an orange T-Rex with a brown top. All these super colossal T-Rexes are the exact same size. And they all come with the stomach compartment, so you can actually feed them miniature dinosaurs down the throat, and you can empty it out in the stomach compartment at the bottom. The next super colossal figure, I believe, was custom painted a long time ago. This T-Rex is a dark green color with the black detailing on the top. You can see it's even got some battle damage on its neck too, which I think is really cool. None of my other super colossal figures have battle damage like that. And it's got the white underbelly. It actually comes with some sound effects too, that when you open the mouth all the way, it's pretty quiet. But it actually roars too, which is different. I don't think any of my other super colossal figures have roar sound effects built into them. So that's pretty cool. The next super colossal figure is a bright red. This is probably one of the most evil looking super colossal figures that I have. Just look at those white eyes. There's actually no pupils painted in, so I think it makes it look a lot more evil. But check out this custom coloring. It's a super bright red body. Kind of looks like fire in a way. It's got the yellow striping right along the black. This is probably my most unique looking super colossal figure. This one is really cool. And the last super colossal figure that I have is the Jurassic Park Dominion figure. This one came out pretty recently, actually. It's got the dark brown body with the black on the top and the light underbelly. And all in all, it's about the same as the other super colossal figures in terms of movement and articulation. But this is a super cool, darker looking T-Rex, and I'm super excited to see what super colossal figures they come out with next. Next up, we've got a orange T-Rex with battle damage all over its body. Look at those slashes on its tail, its leg, its torso, and some on its nose too. And this T-Rex is very adjustable actually. You can move the neck, you can move the legs and the tail, and it is quite posable. Plus, it's got an action button on the top of its head for the roaring. This is an old Jurassic Park figure. This T-Rex has a light underbelly and a camouflaged green top. That's pretty cool. Like many of the Jurassic Park figures, its body is mostly rubber. It's got hard plastic legs. And with this figure, you can use the tail to swing the head back and forth. Next up, we've got a Jurassic World Tyrannosaurus Rex. This has the classic light brown body with the lighter underbelly and dark brown top. And this T-Rex has a chomping action using the button on its tail. That's a pretty cool motorized function that goes with the sound effects. This one is another old Jurassic Park figure. This is a miniature T-Rex with battle damage on the side. And once again, it's got that soft rubbery body and the hard plastic legs and arms. Way in the back here is another Jurassic Park figure with the rubber body and the hard plastic legs and arms. And this T-Rex actually has a stomach compartment too. So you can actually feed this T-Rex smaller dinosaurs. I think it originally came with a specific thing that you could feed it and it would swallow it all the way down to its stomach. But you can still fit other smaller dinosaurs in here too. Right over here is another Jurassic Park figure. This is actually the same model as the one we just saw, but it is custom colored. Check out that super bright orange head and lighter green on top, and it fades down to a darker green on the bottom. And just like the other one, this has a stomach compartment as well, so you can feed this one miniature dinosaurs. It's got a whole lot of teeth too, and they're very brightly colored. This is another Jurassic World figure, and this one actually has a few different features. First of all, you can see that this figure has a button on its foot that activates stomping sound effects. I think the batteries are out in this figure, but it also has the tail control so that when you move the tail, it moves its head around, chomps, and it roars too. Here we've got an old Jurassic World figure. This might be one of the oldest Jurassic World figures that I have, and it's very different from many of the other Jurassic World Tyrannosaurus Rexes that I have. You can see that it has a rubberized neck for flexibility, and the main feature on this T-Rex is that you can cock it up into a roaring position, and then when you activate the tail, it swings its head down for chomping. Here is the new Jurassic World Dominion T-Rex. This one also came out pretty recently this year. You can see it's got the darker body with the black and the dark brown on the sides and the lighter underbelly. And this figure has a much bigger neck and head than many of the other T-Rexes that I have, which I find pretty interesting. It's a pretty big difference. And this T-Rex also has the action button for roaring, and you can control its head too. You can hear that the sound effects are kind of messed up, so I'm not sure what happened. I don't know if it's just this figure or if it happened in a lot of the figures, but the sound effects are a little bit broken in this one. Next up, we've got an old Jurassic World figure. This is a smaller T-Rex, a bit smaller than most of the other T-Rexes in here, but it's still got the adjustable arms and legs, and its whole body is actually a very hard plastic. This T-Rex has one action button on its back for the chomping and roaring. Here's another T-Rex with the super cool camouflage coloring. It's got the bright green on the sides, and then brown, black, and a little bit of green all over the rest of its body. This T-Rex figure also has the foot stomping action, and I believe there's batteries in this one. So you can hear those stomping sound effects. And just like the other one that had the button on its foot, you can control the tail for roars and for chomps too. Next up is a more recent Jurassic World Tyrannosaurus Rex. This figure actually comes with a head cage that you can place on it and lock it in. And this figure is actually designed to break free from that cage using the action button on its back. Let's check it out. Plus, this figure has a foot stomp action when you twist the tail. Here's another old Jurassic Park figure with the rubber body and the hard plastic legs and arms. The coloring on this figure is a bit more unique. It's got a dark red maroon color with the black spots. And this figure has a function that when you squeeze the stomach, it opens and closes its mouth. And it doesn't work too well anymore because it's super old, but you can see that it used to be able to do that. Right over here, we've got another pretty uniquely colored Tyrannosaurus Rex figure from Jurassic World. This one is dark green with black detailing on the top, and it's got the light underbelly as well. And this figure is pretty posable too. You can move the neck around to look in any direction, you can move the legs and arms and the tail, and it's got the button on the top of its head to open and close its jaws. Now this T-Rex has a pretty unique action. I don't think I have any other figures that do something quite like this. Check it out. When you press this action button on its back, it actually does a tearing action. Twists its neck to the side and backwards as if it's tearing off a huge piece of meat. There's also a second action button to control the tail too. That is pretty cool. I do like how unique this action is. Right down here, we've got a smaller model T-Rex. You can open and close the jaw on this figure. The rest of its limbs are stuck in place though, but I do love the coloring on this one. It's like an orange-red color with black detailing, and it is pretty detailed all throughout its body. Here we've got another old Jurassic World figure, and this is actually a hybrid Tyrannosaurus. I believe it is a hybrid with a Dilophosaurus. You can tell by those huge frills right in front of its face. And on this figure, you can wiggle the tail around to control the mouth and the neck too. Over here is another Jurassic World figure. This figure is light brown on the bottom sides and has the dark brown on the top, and is pretty adjustable just like many of the other T-Rex figures. And of course you've got the button at the top of its head for opening its jaw. Next up is another model Tyrannosaurus Rex. I can't remember which brand made this one. And like many of the other model T-Rexes that I have, you can open and close the jaw, but the other limbs are stuck in place. And this T-Rex is in a standing roaring pose, it looks like. Here is another old Jurassic World Tyrannosaurus Rex. This one is also a hybrid, as you can see from these spines on its back. T-Rexes definitely don't have those normally. So you can actually hide those spines by pressing it down into the body and then using the action button to have them pop out. Plus, that same button actually operates the jaw too. Next up, we've got a pretty unique looking Tyrannosaurus model. This has the black stripes on the top with an orange-brown on the sides and a lighter underbelly. And on this figure, you actually can't move anything, not even the jaw. I'd say the most prominent feature of this model is the bright eyes. Back here, we've got another Jurassic World figure, but this one is another custom-colored T-Rex. This looks a lot like the super colossal one that I showed you earlier. It's got the bright red, looks kind of like flames, and the black on the top. And check out those eyes too. These don't have pupils either, which makes it look a lot more evil, I think. This is a light green model T-Rex. This one also does not have any movable parts and is actually like a bit softer of plastic than most of the figures that I have. This is the Jurassic World T-Rex with extreme battle damage. Using the action button on its back, you can actually turn the battle damage on and off just with the click of that button. And the rest of the T-Rex is fully posable as well. You can move the neck, you can keep the mouth open, you can adjust the arms, the legs, and the tail too. This is a smaller T-Rex figure. It's got the light brown and dark brown striping. It's got a little battle damage along its side. And this figure is also in a standing roaring pose. This next model T-Rex is a darker green color with black striping and a lighter underbelly. And on this model, you can open and close the jaw. And it's got a mouth full of teeth right there. Next up, another Jurassic World T-Rex. This one is a dark gray brown color with a darker brown on the top and is adjustable just like the other Jurassic World T-Rexes with the legs, the arms, the tail, and the neck too. This model T-Rex is in a standing roar pose and is also a dark green color with a little bit of black striping. It's very subtle throughout its body. It's also got the light underbelly and a bright pink mouth. This is an old Jurassic World figure. I've actually got another one that's pretty similar to it, but with different coloring. Both of these T-Rexes have the battle damage on the side and have adjustable arms and legs. And with both, you can use the tail to control the neck and the jaw. Just a few more left. Here is a pretty uniquely colored Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's got the yellow and green all over its body. You can see all those individual scales, which I think is really cool. And it's got some intricate detailing right along its eyes. It's almost like a crown or something like that. And you can open and close the jaw on this T-Rex too. And we've got a few more smaller T-Rex figures. This first one is a Jurassic World figure. It's a baby T-Rex. It's got an action with its tail used to open and close its jaw. And this other figure, I'm not sure which brand made this one, but it is in a standing roar pose as well, and you can open and close the jaw. And these are the last two T-Rexes of the bin. The first one is a yellow tan color with a darker green and a little bit of gray on the top. And this other T-Rex is the classic brown-orange color. Both of these have articulated tails, so you can actually move them in a bunch of different directions. And you can adjust the legs on both as well.
and even open and close the jaws.
Want to see more dino videos? Click the subscribe button now.